Sango, Okay, folks. Uh, if you are just watching, would like to say welcome. If you can get me, please let me know. If you cannot get me, let me know so that we can. Okay, folks. If you cannot get me, let me know. If you can get me, also let me know if you are also getting on live statement. I will also say welcome to the Science and Society. We always here on Tuesday and Friday. Always here on Tuesday and Friday. So today on our show we'll host that Charles Ansumana. That Ansumana is the dean of the Science College at the University of Liberia. So we have him already. He has promised to join us today. So for those of you who also nobody here and probably you just came in, maybe you just scroll on social media. Probably this a science society will always host people who are making significant impact into the sciences. And so today we'll host Dr. Charles Ansumana. Dr. Ansumana, probably you've been hearing about him. You want to hear his story. One of the, successful scientists in Liberia. He have a lot of papers, a lot of publication, and also he have more, lot of young people mind back home in Liberia and also in the sciences. Currently, he's hold a key position at the University of Liberia and also making key decisions. Currently, he's at the last time I heard he was at Baku and currently in Saudi Arabia making some negotiation on climate change. And also he will be also share with us his life story and also the some of the things he's been doing and how he can be able to contribute to some of the scientific issues happening back home in Liberia. So we already have him on, but I will go to Slemen so that Slemen can be a welcome Slemen so that he can be able to tell me his expectation about today podcast. But before Slemen can come in, our colleagues are also coming in. Some of them are coming in. So they will soon be here. Madison and John Sir from Uganda, they're gonna be here with us to join us. Slemen, welcome.
Yes, I'm happy to be on the show tonight again. And thank you for sustaining the platform because you are the brain behind everything. So we are grateful for your hard works and determination.
Thank you.
Today's
Thank you.
show today's show will be amazing. The guest in person is exceptional. He's an icon in his field, and He's a mentor to many Liberian students currently and people who are pursuing their graduate studies in Liberia and abroad. So we are thankful and overjoyed to have Dr. Charles Asmana Sr. with us today. Follow this show and get valuable insights that will sustain your academic journey and earning pathway. Guess he's multi-talented and very dedicated to his work. So I'm very glad to see my mentor and to get some tips that will fuel me for the next moves. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Clement. Even though you moderate today, but we'd like to say that welcome to the platform. This is Science in Society. Our other friends also join us. And most of the students are also watching you on Facebook and also they're watching you on YouTube. So, folks, if you're watching, probably you want to share with others, you can share the live as much as you can before we can start. And so we have with us our mentor and our professor, Dr. Chazan Sumana from the University of Liberia. Very busy, but he have to. I mean, one person that I know that always support academic and his students, encourage his students to continue to do more. When we started this platform back, I mean, he's someone who is not on social media, but he's always encouraged whenever he see those flyers from a student. And when I consult him, he said, Mohammed, you can go ahead with this is good. Is once he's educated, it's something that is first of a kind. I remember one of his speech at the United Methodist University where he was pushing for Liberia to establish or something we always call for on this platform or science and tech ministry and which is one of our STEM as well advocacy platform in STEM. And he also they bring behind the pushing for Liberia to have a STEM kind of a strong STEM program. But we have him today. Martin, welcome. Before we can go to that, can you give her your expectation about today's show before we can go to that?
So, Mohammed, thanks for welcoming me. I'm happy to be here with you guys and also to be here with Da, our own father from back home. And as the show goes on, I actually hope to learn a lot as usual from him. And I'm anticipating a very nice show as we go on along today.
Thank you. Martin, you know that is I don't know, that is so lucky today to have everyone on. We hope to be joined by Rachel Taylor and John Sa from Uganda. They're going to join us, and Christian Kanu. Christian is in Liberia. They're all going to join us. Hope to have a very good, fruitful discussion today. So, folks, if you have any comment, probably you have question to ask. We're not going to take calls, but we you can read you can just read in the comment section. We read all that going to as in probably addressing certain things you're going to answer your questions. Probably you have any questions to ask. Just read. We're going to put on the screen. You're going to see it, and he's going to try to resolve those questions. So that I would like to say welcome because time is great man greatest enemy, and we have. I mean, you're someone who is very busy currently discussing. I mean, continental issue when it comes to climate change and other stuff, but leaving that to come to all these shows that you actually, I mean, when we say, I mean, people contributing the world science, you have the passion, you really have the passion because it's not an easy thing. Sometimes, most of the time, we reach out to people here on this platform, in like you, they don't even like to come to us because of the way they are busy. Maybe probably we don't blame them because of our busy schedule, but people say we are less busy. But all we do here is for country and bringing people who are making significant contribution. And currently we trying to elevate this platform to a radio station like EFBC. They're going to be carrying this live in some months to come by the grace of God. So that would like to say welcome to the platform, and we would like to start by the introduction of you. We just joined by one how Kodi from Uganda, but he want to introduce yourself. But we'll start from you that so that you can be here to go. Time is our enemy. They are just joining one by one. But uh, that would like to start with you. They probably want to know who is Dr. Charles Sumana and what actually. what his upbringing, how his upbringing is like, because I've been hearing a lot about you. I don't know some story about you, where you grew up, and some of the struggle you went through, and like that. But before that will come in, after that, Slimmy, I beg you, you can, as soon that finish with this, you can be able to pick up from there now. Thank you. So
Thank you.
Okay, let me say good evening here from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. It is 10:37 p.m. As a matter of fact, you still see me in my coat suit and necktie because we are still negotiating. Sometimes it goes up to 12 midnight, 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, because countries always want to seek their interests, the national interest and national sovereignty. And I also always want to be there to make sure that Liberia interests are also laid down on the table. Let me say that I am happy to be here. I'm very thrilled to see some of my very good students. Mohammed, I know I taught Mohammed chemistry 4.1, 4.2. That's physical chemistry 1 and 2. Then Slemion, Madison. I'm not saying John, I didn't teach John per se, but he must have been talking lately when he went for studies in, I think he's
Uganda.
still in Uganda. Yeah, Uganda. So I'm thrilled to be here to share my journey and my insights into a career that has taken me from the depths of chemical engineering now to the forefront of environmental stewardship and education. So before I go into the science, the engineering of my profession, you were just trying to ask me about myself briefly, right?
Yes.
So I can say that I am a student of science. Yeah, I am in the realm of STEM, environment, and climate change. I'm also an associate professor and dean of the Thomas Jefferson Richelieu Faulkner College of Science and Technology, School of Environmental Studies and Climate Change. Now you realize that the name has turned so long because we've added, among other things, environment, climate change, fisheries, right, statistics, programs now that make students ready for the job market and kind of propel Liberia on the path of economic growth and development. My academic journey has been marked now by so many roles. I serve as academic director for the graduate program of environmental studies and climate change at the University of Liberia graduate program, the graduate school. It was at that position, and I was there when I was called upon to become dean for the Science College. But before then, before I became director for the graduate program, I spent a number of years at UMU. In fact, you can say that I pioneered the opening of the Science College. The Science College became Science College in the year 2014 June, when the science department then transitioned to a full-blown college. Before that time, when I joined UMU in 2013 September, it was a science department under the College of Arts and Science. Then within less than 1 year, we made it on a college. So I'm the founding dean of the Stephen Chowen Nangwe College of Science and Technology at the United Methodist University, UMU. I am a career chemical engineer, oil and gas specialist by training. I have an extensive research background in ionic liquids. It's a new class of compound. In fact, when I started studying it before, I just started, in fact, even though some years back, many years back, our scientists just, came across it, but it became very dormant. And it was not until quite recently when I started doing my PhD, when we resurrected that ionic liquids, a new class of compounds that kind of changed the way we think as engineers. I'm also a technical expert reviewer of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, or called the UNFCCC. My professional path in the oil and gas sector includes a 3-year tenure at the National Oil Company of Liberia, NOCAL. And now today, I'm not with NOCAL, but I'm with the regulator. So I am a member of the board of directors for the Liberia Petroleum Regulatory Authority. I started off, my formative years, right? I started off at the Lakere Baptist Mission School in Broadville. I went to Lakere from nursery, and I went on to graduate from there in 12th grade. So, so I spent all my years there. At the time, it was the bush. The bush, and I went on. I got the highest Irish, not just in the school, but also in WAEC. In WAEC, I got the highest Irish nationwide and region-wide. And that feat led me to attend the university, Cotton University, free of charge, so on a scholarship. Something my parents could not have afforded at the time to go to Cotton School of the elite. Those days. I'm not sure it's still the elite school, but I know by my time when I was there, it was a privilege to go into Cotton University. And I went there, I did chemistry as my major, and I minored in mathematics. So the mathematics skills helped me to pursue a degree in engineering. Yeah, so I don't think I should talk more again because I know we will be engaging informally here on this platform. But this is just a kind of brief profile about where I've come from and my professional role now. Thank you.
Thanks to Dr. Asumana for the splendid introduction. Our first question is from a student to a professional person to a leader. We will start with the nature of being a student first before going to the leadership component of this discussion. During your undergraduate studies, what were some of the qualities that distinguish you from others and enabled you to emerge at the top of your career?
Okay, thank you very much. It's a fine question. First and foremost, let me say that I don't consider myself to be the best, but I think I'm one of those who kind of work very hard. Okay. I work very, very hard in anything I do. So even from high school days, there was this desire for competition. I tried to be very competitive, in my academic pursuit. So I will work hard, and maybe work harder than others, and that's why I've always maintained that level of academic excellence, whether in high school or at the university. Even when I went for graduate studies, I got the highest average in the university at the PhD level.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, the university. Yeah, so yes, and how did I achieve that? It's just because, not because I think I'm smart, but I think because I just work hard. Because what I noticed in graduate program, many of you are in graduate programs, and many of you might also enroll. If you want to remain academia, you go to graduate school. It's not how smart you are that matters. It's how organized you are. Right? Sometimes the smartest students don't do well in the graduate school. But if you organized, you know how to, especially for research, you know how to manage your time very well, you can achieve big things. You can discover things. And so that's why I try to work very hard and to be very organized. The rest will come.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Thank you for that brief answer. And following that, this is a STEM platform. What is your opinion on STEM education in Liberia?
Okay, very good. Yes, so STEM, for those of maybe those who are not scientists and just joining, let me say STEM is an acronym for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. In fact, there are some now who say, well, it should be STEAM and not STEM. So they try to say it should be STEAM. And that A stands for artificial intelligence, right? I mean, the word is gravitating towards that now. There are a lot of platforms now that can make it work easy. And so some people now take the shortcut. Yeah, they just use AI. So it is very important that in a country like Liberia, where everybody is a politician, people talk politics all day at the Atai shop, on the radio, on the streets. But for folks, young people to come and say, well, I want to step into the STEM realm. It is commendable. We should encourage, young people to really consider a career in STEM. Because, not everyone can do STEM. STEM are for those who have prepared for it, and those, again, I will always highlight, who are willing to work hard. STEM is the backbone or the basis for development in many countries. I can tell you at some point when I was in China, the Chinese leadership at the time when I was there had about Hu Jintao and the other folks, Wu Bangguo, Wen Jiabao. Just read about them. They were all scientists. All the leaders in China were scientists. And they have something they call the scientific outlook on development. They said, well, we will develop the science way. And you know what that meant? China left from a country that was like maybe worse than Africa to now one of the leading economies in the world, the fastest growing economy, so much good infrastructure, and so forth. So so if we as Liberians, as Africans, can say, well, you know what? We will leave the politics. Then maybe politicians deal with the politics. We will focus on the sciences, and we will develop the science way. I think it will, if we have that mindset in the next few years from now, a lot of things will change in our country. And it's something that we can all champion in our own ways. Thank you.
Thank you, Dad, for that response. It was brilliant. What do you think the most challenging thing regarding STEM education in Liberia? The most challenging thing.
Yeah, when at one point when I told my parents that I want to do chemistry, the first they say, no, don't do chemistry, become a medical doctor because you very smart. You use that brain to become medical doctor and help people in this health. I said, well, it's as much as I think I'm smart and I'm hardworking, I don't want to be in hospital. I don't think it's somewhere I want to be. I don't want to play with blood. I'll see these things. I have a different orientation. Yeah, I prefer to be an engineer to solve math problems, science problems, physics, and so forth. So like, well, I don't want to be that, but I say, but when you become to do chemistry and mathematics, there is no future for you in Liberia. So the first challenge is that stereotypical challenge, the stereotype, right? That, well, nothing yet. We don't have industries. So the country itself discourages you. That in fact they don't even respect scientists in the country. If you look at Liberia now, who are the first class citizens? Who are the second class? Or a third class? So the first class citizens, will not be scientists, they will be politicians, followed by lawyers. Where will you put medical doctors? Where will you put engineers? So I'll leave that with you to decide. So when you see folks in the country who say, well, I will not do science because scientists are, they don't have much. They struggle every day to be day-to-day living. I will just do the shortcut. I will go on radio. I will blast government. I will, spoil other people's name. Maybe I will blackmail, cause trouble, and then that will be my easier route to material wealth, right? To other things, to the perks of life. So you see, so right there, you already say now, I won't do science. So this is in my mind the key challenge because we don't see scientists thriving, in a society. In other countries, scientists are the first class citizens. Scientists, medical doctors, they are first class. If I coming down to lawyers, the politicians, and all of that, but we have scientists at just there. They have a class of their own. Something you don't see in Africa, especially so in Liberia.
I think we have some questions on the live, and then the other guys.
Okay.
You
can ask questions.
Yeah, I'm coming, but John, you welcome. You can unmute yourself and probably say something. Ebenezer Molia, you also welcome. You can unmute yourself.
Ask questions.
No, so let me first of all read there's a question on the live stream I want to read from Deviator Davis. And so Deviator is saying she wants to know what motivates Dr. Ansumana to pursue a degree in science. And so probably I could add on to that question by saying, even after going to pursue a degree from chemistry to chemical engineering, what was your thinking then, doing further well from your previous explanation, people saying to you, doing chemistry is something that you're going to go into the class, you're not going to get a job quicker in Liberia, and some job. People take even teaching to be something that is, that kind of stigma that you don't have to be in the classroom teaching a poor man thing like this. What really motivated you, that you didn't follow your parents' footsteps to go and be medical doctor?
Okay, so yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, no, my parents are not medical doctors. My parents encouraged me to be medical doctor. But yeah, so let me say that actually there are two things that really propelled me. And let me say thanks to Davietta Davis, a female. I don't know whether she's pursuing STEM.
Yeah, she's on the platform normally, but today she's facing problem of coming with her link.
Yeah, but
she's normally on our platform. Yeah, she's pursuing something in marine science.
Okay, still related. Yeah, so two things, right? My strength, academic strength, and number two, my passion. So you see, if you go into any career, it's good to consider these two factors. Where does my strength lie? You can say, well, I like science. I have the passion for science, but can I do science? Do I have the ability and the capacity to, or even the discipline to sit for long hours to do science? So you see the point? So, so the must go hand in hand. There must be willingness and there must be ability. So when I was coming up, I realized that my strength was really into calculations. I was not the reading type that would just see a whole novel and start reading. Even though later on I developed reading skills, but I was, fundamentally in my formative years in the calculations. Sometimes I would just sit down, even on the ground. I started solving bio program with rack, and on the dirt and just solving. I would just see myself solving problems, So that was. Then I felt that, well, maybe this is where my strength lies. Then all my grades, sometimes if I even score 95 in physics, chemistry, math, then I fail. I want to see myself scoring 100, 99. Then I say, oh yeah, it's good. So yeah, so my strength was in the sciences. And then I realized that, I was not very social. Let me put it, I was not social at all. So many scientists, it's stereotypical, right? They say, well, we scientists, we are antisocial, we belong behind the scenes, we belong in the lab. I'm not saying this is true for science students, but for many cases, for when I was coming up, I felt that was true for me. Because where I found a lot of people having fun and dancing and singing, I wouldn't be there. I would like to be secluded. I would like to be by myself. When I started a lab, I started being in the lab. I started a lab very young, at a very young age. I like career mission. We started a lab in the 5th grade. So I would usually want to be in the lab using the pickup. So yeah, so those I want to move at a very young age.
Wow. So let's go to Madison. For me, I will reserve my questions. I'll go to Madison. From Madison, then we'll go to Ebenezer Molia. Molia, I would like to say welcome. Probably if you can put your camera on, maybe that I want to see you. You can also put the camera. I don't know, but
so Mohammed, the sad thing is that we are in Liberia and there's no current. So
thank you so much. Thank you so much, Molia, for coming on invite. So we'll go to Madison. Madison, you can ask your question because time is good.
So thank you for at least briefing us with some of the challenges and how you've been through your academic sojourn. So I want to ask this question particularly related to research because this is one field I'm having a great interest in. So that normally this is my experience. Like most time you will see a student who goes into graduate school will get focused on submitting their thesis for graduation, and then afterward the student leave graduate school, and then that is it. My idea is for a student who want to become an academician like you, and then the student goes into the graduate school and gets graduated. Now, if this student want to get into the issue about research, like being an efficient publisher, now what is the way forward? How can that student build such efficient research skill to become an academician like you, Da?
Okay, so yes, so first of all, there are, you know, different types of research. Let's put it that way first, right? Let's be clear on it. We have qualitative research, you have quantitative, then you have the mix. Then even you have, research involving the elements. Let's say scientific research. Then we have research involving human factors. The social science research where you have to interview folks. Then you go to the to the ethics board to have that ethical consideration. For me, I didn't do that once involving human factor. I did scientific research, engineering, oil and gas. So research skills are built from the time you enter graduate school, right? In fact, let me say this. Even when we're born, all that curiosity, the quest to know things is the beginning of research. You want to know when you pass something for your kid or somebody, you say, let me open this to see what's happening here. Let me see this. Let me check behind this thing. Something to open it and it gets spoiled like that. So that mind to investigate, to find out things, is actually the foundation for research. But when you start to do your graduate studies, there are skills that you must do, you must learn. It's not just for, like, I was in the lab, so let me not speak for those who are into other kinds of research, right? Let me talk about those who are into scientific research, because it's a STEM platform. We entered the lab, quite frankly, let me give you my own experience. When I went into the lab, I went into a lab in Asia, a very big lab, and that lab belonged to my supervisor. I didn't know each supervisor get their own lab. Those, in countries, big countries, each supervisor get their own lab. So I had a very big lab that I went into. And when I went there, as much as I was one of the best in my country, I used to like the lab, but I was confused. I did not know where to start from. I was like, what? All these equipment? I just could not understand. And rotary evaporator that I never used before, I've been reading in books, but I've not seen it before. And they are all there before me. So I only have basic theoretical knowledge. I did not have practical knowledge. So at one point in time, I asked one of my classmates, in fact, not classmate, but she was one step ahead of me. And I asked her, how do you operate this machine, this apparatus? Her response to me was not kind. And she said, which one I interpreted, she said, even this small thing you don't know? So I was like, oh, okay. Then I said, well, I will not ask anybody again. Right there, I started to observe. Observation is also a beginner of research, right? Observation is scientific method, right? You observe. I started to observe how they were doing things, but they have been exposed to it from the time, ever since, from the time they became a big country, developed country. So what they had above me was the practical, but not the theory. On the theory, we're up on the same level, if not even more. But they were better than me on the practical. So I did not feel sorry for myself. I just felt that, well, I needed to bridge the gap that existed, with me and other students. And then I started to go on the internet and started to look at this equipment, how they've been used. I went to YouTube, and other programs. I started reading. So before I did my research, first of all, this is what I did. I read 50 papers. I think about 52 papers. I'm not even talking in the lab yet. I just read 52 articles in my field. Then I did a table. That table says still in my master degree thesis. and I expanded on it in my PhD thesis. I did a table of what I was reading about, the advances, the progress, the gaps, how it can be corrected. I did a whole table. And then I realized that there was a trend. There was a gap that must be fixed. And I felt that I could use my skills to really solve that research problem. And so I went into it. First 2-3 times, I was failure. I could not get the result I wanted to get. Try.
Wow.
I said, what? So you want to tell me all the things that people are smart, you know, you're smart. Is that how it end? Like in failure? But you know, that's research. Research can be discouraging. The research means that you don't even know how you get it right, but you because of your creativity and innovation, you know what you're doing is right, but you put it together, right? The puzzles to fix something that you know the world wants to see. But be that as it may, to cut long story short, I eventually did my first paper in a very big journal, Korean Chemistry Journal. At the time, it was 6 point something impact factor. Those days, when I was in graduate school, the requirement was just to publish in even 1.7 impact factor, you are good. 2, you excellent. But I did it in 6 point something impact factor. So there where my confidence built. Then the next paper again, I published in the C journal. Then I went into another journal. So I started publishing. Then I said, well, buddy, this is very good. Now, so I was publishing regularly when I was out of the country because I had all the equipment. But guess what? When I decided to go home to my country, Liberia, to our country, the things I was using in Asia were not there. When not in Liberia at the University of EMU and UL, but they were not there. Sadly, I could not publish as much as I wanted to publish. What I started doing now was desktop study, doing review or different, you know, I think it was like I just did one 2 years ago, you know. So I was so it's kind of hard. So research is expensive, let's put it that way. So even if, for example, after a graduate school, you say, I still want to be a researcher, or still want to research. Well, if you are like me in the lab, do scientific research, doing it in Liberia is difficult. But at least when I became dean for the science college, I wrote a proposal to use it, and it helped us with 4 labs. So at least we have 4 modern labs that now we can do good research and complete it. But all of that will still have challenges. So research is expensive. You need the conditions, the apparatus, the reagents. If you don't have that, it's so difficult to strive in a scientific environment. So yeah, so I can understand the frustration. So I mean, if this other form of research now, you know, where you just involve interviews, investigating, you know, kind of stuff, public health research, all of that. Well, even though I'm not trying to, you know, kind of like lower the standard of it, but at least those conditions are available in our country, right? You can interview people, you can do qualitative research, and so forth. You know, that's what folks do in Liberia at the graduate school. You know, so that's what they do. But if there's scientific research in the lab at the University of Liberia or EMU, we're not calling it research, we call it project. So they just do project because what they get there is not real primary data. You know, they use secondary data, you know, so that's not research for me. Primary data using the results you yourself got in the lab, which in Liberia now is difficult. But with time, we will get there.
Okay, folks, I think we'll go to Ebenezer Molia. Molia, you can come in with a question quick. So before Molia, before you can come in, I want to encourage the folks to share the live as much as they can. And so we have both of our friends watching. If you are watching, we have Dr. Charles Ansumana. He's the Dean of the Science College at the University of Liberia. So we are discussing one racial issue in science. Maybe you have question to ask those issues in discussing. You want to ask, you can ask in. I mean, this is an open secret. Some of us been here, but that Ansuman is always busy and he's always working on scientific issue. You have the opportunity now to interact with him, and also you can as Mola, so you can share the live video as much as you can. So Mola, it's over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Mohammed, and so Dr. Charles Azumana and my colleagues Madison and Sleman. Is a warm honor to be a part of this entire podcast with Dr. Charles Azumana. The name Dr. Charles Azumana, once you're into STEM, you should know him. If you don't know him, then it becomes a problem for you so far. So that I've sat and listened to you keenly. You lay emphasis on several things relating to your professional life, beginning from primary to where you are currently, and also laying some emphasis on few of challenges, basically. And I think Madison was very blown away. Asked a question about students either from undergrad or graduate when they go to university about research. At times they do theses, and the thesis no longer go further in regards to publication, something like that. So my question has to do with all of these various achievements you've had, ranging from challenges from high school all the way to undergrad, going to China. I remember one day I was in Pato class, Gerito, and he told me there's this guy that we went meeting, and, 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 and what the other guy is, George,
It's
we
not
went in
just
China.
George,
Yeah,
Robert,
we went in China. We went in China. They made them do everybody. They made do all the Chinese food. I was like, wow. It will be so privileged to see this. One that I was mother, and I think it was a year ago or two that I met you at the campus. From since that time, we've been very close and then having some conversation about that. So again, that my question has to do with what can you say to young people who are currently striving, basically in the STEM to see how best they can reach to the level are you. What has been some of the missteps and what has been some of the daunting challenges you've had that you can encourage other young people that they may not also try on that same path but go smoothly? I think that's my question.
okay, thank you very much. So let me say to you, congratulations. You are a scholar. You graduated as the valedictorian for the recent graduation of AME University. Congratulations again, Vanessa. I wish you all the best in your academic and professional sojourn.
Thank you, that I
Yeah,
appreciate a lot. Thank you.
exactly. You're such a remind me when I was in school coming up in the desire for excellence. So let me say this. It was not rosy. I mean, things were not rosy for me. As I said to you, my parents, well, my parents were not, they were not dirt poor, right? My parents were not like, as they said, we could afford to have basic food to eat, so that one I will not tell a lie. But my parents did not have any extra thing. Like, for example, I have my siblings throughout my life, from let's say from nursery or from kindergarten, I wouldn't have gotten the education I got today because my parents now will have focused on my younger siblings. Yeah. So parents are relatively young. My mother was just born 1964, and then she had me very young too. I was the first child. Then others came along the way. So we had our fair set of challenges. But what helped me, because always strive, I always knew my condition, my parents' condition. So I always strive to be number one, right? To be competitive. And that gave me scholarship all the way to PhD. Yeah, my PhD in my 20s. Yes, so but then let me say this. When I graduated from high school and got the highest Irish in WIAC, at that point in time, I slept. Now you say, but what do you mean you sleep? I told myself I will not go to school again. And the reason was simple. Even though why give me scholarship to go Cottington free of charge and with everything, but I said other WIAC dudes left the country. But then while doing my time, I'm not leaving the country. So the scholarship to Cottington, I turned it down. I said I don't want it. So all my friends went to university. Some to UL, UMU, UL, those who could afford Cottington, UMU, other places. I said to myself, I was not going to school. And I did not go to school. That semester, in fact, I went to the Inquirer newspaper. Like my first job, right after high school. I went to Inquirer, I started doing typesetting job. I was typesetting, so I typed very well, as a matter of fact. I one of the best typists, in everything. So I typed very, very well, even up to now. So I was a typesetter, what we call a typist.
Okay.
Yeah, so the folks there know me very well. I was, like maybe, can I say I was 17 years old doing that work. And so my parents got angry with me. Why you want to go to school? Just take that. Even though, yeah, you're supposed to travel, yeah, but it didn't happen. Just take. I said, no, I want to go to school. That was a mistake on my part. But something happened through the course of my work at Inquirer. At one point, there was something I did as very, very, I was very naive at the time too. And what I did was very simple to me, but it infuriated my boss at the time. The late Philip Wisse, who I had a deal of respect for. He brought me up in the whole writing stuff and all of that. And he got angry with me. And what did I say? Something very simple, right? There was this guy he also died too, one Kofa Nangwe. He's a bit of horsing. I don't know why I'd be very young to know him.
Okay.
So every year he will get most outspoken politician of the year. And I felt that yes, he could talk. But naturally, because he's from a county where everybody say, the people from Grand Creek can talk. So I said, yeah, maybe if a Grand Creek county, so that's why he talks a lot, and that's why he always wins this thing. Later did I know that it was going to make my boss vest. He said, so you don't say because I crew man and the man crew man too, so I've been biased. I said, no, that's what I meant. But because I everybody was saying it. And apparently they were saying it in a way to maybe say that he was biased. He didn't know that I was naive. He didn't know that I was joking to even understand what I was talking. He said, look, what happened? You are suspended for time indefinite. I was like, wow. Suspended? What does that even mean? I went. So after 2 days, he coming back. Come out of work, man. That time I was just joking with you. Come out of work. But right there, you know what I told myself now? I will go to school. So that nobody can say you suspended or do anything like that. I will go to school. When I make myself useful, useful, then the demand will be very high, right? You want to say
of course, yes.
So then I went at the time Cottington they had the office where Ecobank used to be, man. They had the office, the principal building there on Ashman around the street.
Okay.
Yeah, so I said, well, I walked there and I asked Cottington, is my scholarship still here from the WIAC, from WIAC? They said, yes, it's here. We've been looking for you. So I said, so can I start school now? He said, but you have to wait after the semester. So I said, well,
wow.
I already started now. So that's how I went to school. And when I went to school, then I still graduated within 3 years. So those who went to school before me, I graduated with them. You know, so
Wow.
I doing 3 years. So yeah, so that was it. So you see, I slipped. I almost didn't go to school, but I want to experience it. I want to experience, you know, at the workplace. Say, you know why? Make yourself useful. Otherwise, tomorrow others will just take advantage of you. And so that's why I did. I went to school, and from that time, I said there was no turning back.
You know that I will come in with my own question, and one thing that caught my attention, you know, when I had my first paper, not too so long ago, that was I think 1 month ago, and you said to me, Mohammed, I think this is a PhD issue because you publishing 8.5 journal, and it's something that remind me of my PhD or my graduate study in China, and you have to keep it up. And every time when I came here, I remember I was like, I want to go back because I can cope with the language and stuff. And he said to me, Mohammed, you have to stay. Language is always, it's always like, even when you're in China with your story with Chinese language, and you said to me, you can make it. And so I should also appreciate you for this. But that with the issue of, I want to go back to your current work you're doing with the country when it comes to how have your chemical engineering degree help you to with your work you do currently? You in Saudi doing attending a lot of conferences for the country. I remember that was in the UK. You attended one point in time. You as a focus person on climate disaster or something like that. That was I forget what the conference name, along with the then former president George Weah, and it's something that I feel inspired. So how have your degree, your chemical engineering degree, really helped you in the area? Because I can say almost like all of the work you do now in environment energy, and how have you really helped you, and how can Liberia as a country, you know, how these things can help Liberia as a country, meaning environment energy, what's really important to the country?
Thank you. It's like acid being, you know, there's somebody was saying, you know, but we do the calculus. You do calculus. How can I help you in life? How can calculus put food on your table? You know,
Sure.
that's why I acid being now. But you see, let me say this. Right now, I'm not making money from chemical engineering. Actually, when I graduated as a chemical engineer, I had a job in China, you know, with a company that was doing fossil fuel, exporting coal to Singapore, Malaysia, and Indonesia. And then just in that time, I was encouraged to come back to Liberia to work on local. So because I had a job, so I told local, you know, I had a job, so they paid me very well, actually. So at that point in time, at local, I was a chemical engineer because local was involved in oil and gas operations. So that I fitted very well there. But later on, when we could not discover oil up to commercial quantity, there was no need for a chemical engineer. So, but what Nukan needed at the time, because we're doing exploration, was an environmentalist. You know, so then since I had a PhD, they made me the senior environmentalist. You know, providing leadership there, you know, in the health, safety, and environment division of DOCAL. Since that time, I have been, you know, having different types of training in the environment because I was not really first an environmentalist, but from local training, a lot they sent me to the US multiple times. You know, for training, I went to some of the best institutions in the US on local arrangement. And then I realized that, you know, sometimes it's not what you learn in school that can put food on your table.
Of course, yes.
It's actually, you know, other things. But because you have other skills, that it's easier to fit in. So because I had skills in calculations, in engineering, so it was easier to fit in the environment, especially what we're doing on local, you know, those having performance standards for oil and gas companies that were operating here. Of course. Sure. So then I was there for 3 years. And so we were doing very well in NOCAL, actually. Then at some point in time, after 3 years, NOCAL became insolvent. And that insolvency led to a massive company-wide redundancy that sort of affected all of us, young people, young professionals at the time. And it was like that. We lost our jobs. So then I started becoming very, very active in 2 things. Number 1, teaching. And number 2, consultancy. I became consultant at EPA, the Environment Protection Agency, in the year 2015, the very time, September 2015, the very month I left NOCAL. And when I went to EPA, well, EPA was not like NOCAL, like I know NOCAL to be, the kind of money that NOCAL had, the prestige, all of that. So I was there. And then just in that time, there was a project that came from the UN to manage a project on the environment that involves greenhouse gas emissions. And I applied for it. They were very competitive. And I think my degree in chemical engineering helped me to get a project. So right there and then, I had a very big project management. A project valued $350,000, $352,000. So that was the project I had to manage. Called the Banner of the Report project, which when you check online, you will see, that I kind of manage it, I author it. So yes. Then, so at that point in time now, the US started to train me. They sent me to many countries around the world. So yeah, quite frankly, I'm not boasting, but I have been to, let's say, more than 30 countries around the world, in many different capacities. One of the things I did too, when they sent me to Germany, I took a test. I took a very difficult test where Africans don't hardly pass. And I got the highest. I got 92 in the test. And it was published online. And so that test, the result for that test made me an expert reviewer, or technical expert reviewer, making me now to go to other countries to review the emissions, what they report on to see what is true or not. I kind of audit them, environmental audit and so forth. And that's what I do up to today's date. Also, I represent Liberia as a negotiator. I level of science and technology, and in other technical areas. So that's the reason why you see every year COP, whether the UNCPD, the UNCCD, or the UNFCCC, I'm always representing Liberia in that capacity to ensure that Liberia gets the very best from these negotiations. So I'm very proud and very humble to represent my country in this way, while at the same time, my main job is academia. So I'm still teaching. I'm very active. I'm very active in what is the thing name? Very active in academia at the graduate program. And then I'm into leadership, academic leadership, dean for the college, a very big college. So yeah, so that's what I do. Thank you.
Okay,
I have a question quickly. Please.
Yeah, you can ask.
Thank you. And thank you again. Madison, please, you ask the question to you. Let me just pass it out. So that my question has to do with this, right? Looking at the achievements you've had over the years, there are 2 questions that I have for you, and I need you to further explain. It may also be a help to those that are also following this live. The first thing is that why did you go law school? Because I believe that now you are Dr. Anthony. Why did you go law school? That's the first question. And the second question is that I studied biology and chemistry. I have a first degree in biology and chemistry. But my core interest is because for me, I have attended some other international conferences around the world. Yeah, this is specifically into climate change. Most of the conferences I've attended are sort of like US into climate change, environment, stuff like that. And I did a degree in biology and chemistry. And now wanting to further expand my expertise into a graduate program into environmental courses. What best advice you think you can give a young person like me so far?
Okay, thank you, Eben. Well, I will not say go to law school now. I will say go to your master's and PhD. You know, see for sure that scholarships are available. They're available. You know, we can all check, but there are so many scholarships that avail themselves. It is just a matter of having the time to explore and apply. You may apply to 4 or 5 places and get rejected, but you can just and maybe that apply to just one more place, you get accepted. So it's like that's it. But keep applying. Yeah, you should not get discouraged. You know, you should never get discouraged in your application process because
Okay, get
hello,
that? Yeah, we get you. We can
yeah,
get you that.
I'm hearing background. Okay, background
Okay,
noise.
so that we'll go to the live view. We'll soon be leaving. I know you getting tired, but we'll go to the
No,
live view.
I've
Yeah.
not answered you yet, right? I've not answered you yet.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
That has not answered my question. And
Yeah, just
Oh,
answer.
yeah.
There was noise in the
Okay.
background. That's why I was just saying that there's noise in the background. But what I'm
Oh,
just saying
okay.
is that yeah. So I would say keep applying. Reach out to to folks like us and other people in the field to see what opportunities are available for you, and then go to your master's and your PhD. You know, if you want to become a medical doctor, no problem. If you want to become an engineer and an environmentalist, which is a very hard cake now, climate change scientist, for us, a very hard cake, modeling analysis. But so that other thing. But also now law. Well, law for everybody. I can say any professional, anybody can do law at any point in time in their life. You know, if you look at the society, look at Liberia. I told you before, as opposed to scientists and lawyers in Liberia, who do you think people who high esteem in our setting now? Are the lawyers?
lawyers.
Yeah, people who lawyers in high esteem. Not that lawyers are smarter than anybody or smarter than scientists, no. But it's society we live in. Politicians are first class, then lawyers. So you see, and but beside the it's not just that, but also to lawyering now you can do it for so many ways. And you can help people. You can help the change society with the with your legal services, but also too with law. Especially so if your law is backed by science, other things you can help to promote good environmental laws, climate change laws. You can help the UN and other. So yes, but first and foremost, I would suggest that with your level of education, your smartness, go first for the pure sciences. If eventually in the future you feel that you want to do law, well, you can do it, but I won't say go for it now. Because then it's very jealous. It will make you now not to do your graduate studies in the sciences. Okay, thank you.
So before we
I don't
before
want to
we
be so
get
long because I know there are other questions coming up.
Yeah, thank you
before
very
we can
much.
go to
TJ.
before we can go to Malaysia, I will read some of the comments from the live earlier. Or David is saying thank you so much. I'm enjoying the I'm enjoying the live. George Tule is saying nice job. Norris Shedra is saying inspirational. And so Romeo Gono, Dr. Romeo Gono is saying, indeed, Dr. Ansumana Senior is one of the leading STEM educator, and it's an honor to have him on this platform. Many young STEM lovers, including me, have had the opportunity to drink from his fortune of knowledge. And so we have Bien Pabi. Bien Pabi is saying, I'm truly inspired by this story of Dr. Ansumana. In fact, his level of academia is top notch. Fun fact. I highly I think he's saying I hurriedly calculated. Yeah, I hurriedly calculated his age. when his profile reached me as program director of Kemusa launching at UMU, I just could not believe that the most talk about Dr. Ansumana is this young with so many excellent achievements, has inquired a lot academically. He is an inspiration to this generation of science. And so Noreen Cedra is saying, please explain more on the environmental program Ebenezer asked about. I think that already explained about that. And so we have Momo Samokai Kone is saying, if I have first degree but in education, not in the science, how do I explore opportunity? So that is a possible question that I will go back to it so that can answer. Then we'll go to Madison. And Moses Wa Dubai is saying, I think Professor Moses Wa Dubai is a professor at the University of Liberia. He's saying, I'm so glad to watch my dean. And that's just his comment from the YouTube live, in watching from YouTube. So Momo question, I'm going to pin that on the screen saying, if I have first degree, but in education, not in the science, meaning in the sciences, how do I explore opportunity? So I think he just mean if he have not had the opportunity to get a first degree in the sciences, but he wants to explore in other opportunity, how can you explore other opportunity apart from that? So he's a non-science or degree holder, I think so, from the question he asked. So that you can answer that briefly, then we can go to Madison.
Yeah, so let me say, first of all, thank you very much for your kind comments. I appreciate that very well. I know, like I said, I know all of you, who made those who spoke those kind of words to me. I don't take these words lightly. Yes, I really appreciate it. I also learned from you too, in the classroom. You learn from many of you good students, from the questions you ask and all of that. I also learn from you in many different ways that you cannot imagine. I know Moses Wa Dubai. He was in India. He graduated with a degree, I think,
microbiology.
Yeah. So he's very good. He visited me in my office, when he came from India. So yes, let me come to Mr. Kane. Yeah, Mr. Kane, you did very well. You have a degree so you have a BEd, right? Bachelor's in Education. And I don't know whether you're interested in the sciences. Well, if you're interested in the sciences, then you can do science education, right? You can pursue, say, well, maybe I would do education, I would do science, then you can do education in a way that, because education has many opportunities that are available that avail themselves to you, right? Education is not just teaching, even though teaching is a noble profession. So I don't know, people say, oh, you teach, just a teacher. No, teaching is something big. Teaching is a noble profession. So yes, it's good to be an educator, but you can perfect the skills. Do you want to be, a curriculum expert? Do you want to engage in educational supervision? Do you want to engage in the teaching of science? So I don't know from which perspective you're speaking from, but yes, I can tell you from the question you asked that there are opportunities available in the realm of education. Thank you.
That's a very short question. I think we'll go to you so that you can ask your question. We have 2 comments, but we're going to go to you so you can ask your question. Then we'll come back to those questions and comments.
Okay, so Mohammed, I like to ask this question to Doug, blending his academic career and that of the sector he currently working. So that being an associate professor and also a dean of the Science College at the University of Liberia, I want to know, with the experiences you have and all of the traveling you've been doing on behalf of Liberia into the area of climate change and that of STEM and climate change, I want to know, as a country like Liberia, where do we stand now? How is our climate change sector? Let's say, how is the environmental sector? what are the current development, what we are lacking on, and what are those things that we need to do as a country to keep us going. So basically, the current development into the environmental sector and that of what we are lacking on and what we actually need to improve on as a country.
Okay, thank you very much. So Liberia is part of the what we call the UNFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, right? It means that as a party or a country, we have responsibilities, right? Even though we do not contribute significantly or we contribute just negligibly to emissions, right? But we have responsibility. It may be common but differentiated roles. And that's why that's why we come to negotiate, because we must get the best of our climate deals. So where we are now as a country is actions that we are taking to benefit or to access climate finance. You know, we have the GEF, Global Environment Facility, we have the Green Climate Fund, the GCF, and other climate bodies, right? You don't just get money from those climate bodies like that. When we come to negotiate on the table for like Liberia, developing country or LDC, we don't negotiate like the big boys. The big boss will negotiate it. Will negotiate in a way it'll be like action for action. But for us, our dynamics is different. We negotiate at the level of what we call money for action. In other words, before you access climate finance, then you must show what you have done. One of the things, for example, we have a very good virgin or natural forest. We have about, despite significant forest loss, we have about 40% of the Upper Guinea forest. Right? That is a darling girl. That everybody wants. So are we going to preserve some of it? Especially right now when the Norwegians are giving us some money to preserve it. Or are we also going to engage in responsible commercial logging? So that we kind of address the twin battle. We want to preserve our environment, but we also want to grow economically. It's something that is hard to address. But first and foremost, we must engage in environmentally conscious actions in order to have a voice on the global stage, to show actions to access climate finance. That does not mean that we cannot develop other programs, like we're going to do commercial logging. It's not bad to do commercial logging, no. It's not bad to engage in activities with limited emissions, for example, but at least one that will be viable to our people. Because say, for example, I will not cut any tree down. I will not have any factory. Yeah, you have a green environment, it's good, but then your people are suffering. Then what happens? So it's good to balance it. If we go to negotiate, we negotiate on that basis. People first, then the environment, other things. But if you say, well, I will preserve the environment 100%, know that it comes at a cost to the people. Because what I would like you on that, climate change affects up more because Liberia has a low capacity to adapt to its impact. Today, like now before in our country, farmers are experiencing problems with their livestock. Livestock are dying. Their crops are not thriving. Not because they cause a problem, because of the global climate change problem that have been caused. Those who are causing it don't face that much impact because they have the resources to adapt and to even mitigate. We wouldn't have it. So whatever we do, we should make sure that we do it in a way that it will not significantly affect the lives of our people. And that's why we are here. That's why we try to negotiate at a level that it will be fair. It'll be win-win on both sides.
Wow. Madison, do you have any follow-up question? Then I can go to the live. Then we take the last round of questions before that can close.
No,
Any follow-up
Mohammed,
question?
I think the question is fairly answered by that, so I'm okay for now.
So, folks, if you are watching, we encourage you to share the live. Those of you watching from YouTube, we'd like to say welcome to Science and Society on Facebook on the two platforms, Innovation Lab from the Innovation Lab page. This program is called Science and Society, is sponsored by the iHelp Library Project, STEM project in the US, and also the Innovation Lab. And so we always here on Tuesday and Friday, bringing you people who are making significant impact into the science, into STEM. That we have Dr. Charles Ansumana, Dean of the Science College at the University of Liberia, and a major player in the area of climate change and energy in Liberia. And so we're going to read the comments from the live, and so that we can go back to our friend Ebenezer so that he can ask his last round of question, and that can be able to call it a day. But we have for comment from Moses who are Dubai. Moses said, I'm watching live from Boston Junction, and I appreciate you, Mohammed, for sure program. And so Jacob where is saying, I'm incredible. Yes, I'm honored and blessed to see Dr. Charles Ansumana. I'm not seeing this clear, but he said I'm honored and blessed to see Dr. Charles Ansumana on this platform. He is truly an academic gang, a great mentor, a father figure to many. So his question is, how can we ensure that students who excel in the natural sciences become valuable, impactful member of society? So that's the question we're going to you go back to it. Let me just read off the comment. And so from all of the platform there. And so that Mr. Professor Dubai is saying again that Ansumana is serving as a role model for the young people in Liberia so that they can be more encouraged to learn. And so we have going Paul is saying knowledge at its own strata that I am truly proud again tonight. And so it's Jolie is also watching. That's all. These are the comments so far. So I think you have one question that from Jacob. Jacob is I'm gonna pin that on the screen saying his question is how can we ensure that students who excel in the natural sciences become valuable and impactful member of society. So that's his question that it's over to you.
Okay, I know Jacob very well from UMU, very, very smart. And I know he talks to me regularly. We chat on WhatsApp, which I like. Yes, so your question, yeah, so there are ways you can do that, right? For example, number one, the first thing is I will encourage students to integrate knowledge from various disciplines in order to solve the complex world problems that we have today. So if you say, well, I know the science, I know chemistry, do you just know it because of the theory? But do you know it with a sense of saying, well, I want to use it to, say, improve water quality. I want to use it to solve real problems or real world problems. That's the first thing. Number two, I will also encourage students to, well, maybe this might be beyond students now, but to say, well, then get hands-on experience. I know many universities, some universities don't have the equipment, the labs, the research projects, the internships that should be available, the fieldworks, because these are things that can help students to prepare them for the real world. But if students want to make impact in the real world, then they must have hands-on experience. That is what I will encourage, because they are part of quality education and skill development. Then also critical thinking and problem solving. But that is for the academic side of it. But then there's also other side of it that we sometimes we tend to overlook. The mentorship and the networking. It's good to connect with role models. So I know there are many very great, young and older people in Liberia that students can pair with. They can be your mentors in your field of interest. They can be, say, accomplished scientists. You know, they can be industrial leaders, but as you network with them, they can guide you. You know, then there are other networks, for example, not you can go to conferences, they can be in-person conferences or workshops, they can be virtual, they can be seminars, but then it also helps you to stay updated on the advancements in the field. The others that many students can overlook to, you know, say we just want to be up there, we don't want to be high up, but there are also other things, like simple things as community engagement. Before I know what, according to, they have something called service learning. I don't know what they have in other universities, but when I was there as a student, service learning, where you go into communities, you have to solve some local challenges, such as, say, water purification, sustainable farming, public health initiatives. These are all service learning. You know, it helps you to, it connects you to your community. Then, you know, then you can do other things. For example, you can have some innovative business setup. I know it's in our country, it might be a problem. Other countries, they provide grants, they provide scholarship, and they encourage students to do, say, for example, you know, do involving soap making. You know, chemistry or soap making, all of that. But all in all, I mean, what is available right now for us is to make sure that students have the skills, the theoretical skills, and the practical skills, right, to make sure that they have impact in the real world. I hope I answered your question, Jacob.
Yeah, the question was answered. I think one more question there. I didn't see it. And so it says for Jolie is saying, does the University of Liberia have a real science lab? That's his question he's asking. You know.
Okay, so let me say this. It is our challenge. Even though we have made significant strides, as I said, when I became dean in 2022, June, that very month, I wrote a proposal to UC peer project, and they spent $130,000 US to refurbish 4 labs, 2 biology labs, 1 chemistry lab, and 1 physics lab. So the very modern, you can do very good research there. These are the 4 good labs I know about the University of Liberia. The other facilities that we have, well, they're not that good, right? Students can learn to some extent, but there is room for progress. You know, there's room for progress. So why it is true that we may not have very good conditions for effective science education, but at least we have the basis. I can tell you, you know, coming from Liberia throughout my life, if you are very good in Liberia, you are good anywhere in the world. That I can tell you for sure. If you are one of the best students in Liberia, you can go to the US, you go to any country in Asia, you go to Europe, I can tell you for sure that you will be among the best. Despite the fact that we may have very humble beginnings.
Thank you so much, that Molia, we'll go back to you for a last question because it's getting late. That we have Dr. Charles Sumana on his, by the way, we're hosting from Saudi Arabia on a conference for Liberia, conference that want to benefit Liberia. So probably he will probably summarize that. That is one of my questions. Maybe I want to know about these 2 conferences, and maybe we're going to see that. But Ebenezer, you can ask your question, Molia. Molia, are you there? Are you getting us? You are muted, I think so. No, he's not muted. Molia, are you getting us? Ebenezer, still Molia, are you getting us? So we're not getting him. So we'll go to Madison. Madison, your last question.
So, Mohamed, I want to ask this question to Doc concerning the issue about this emerging coast currently in Liberia, I am of the conviction that climate change and that of our environmental science is being spread right now as we stand in Liberia. By then, we now have a climate change and that of environmental science in most of the university. So that being a dean of the science college having climate change and environmental science, I want to know, with your expertise, how do you see this sector of Liberia growing in the next 5 to 10 years? How will it be like in Liberia as it relates to environmental science and that of climate change? Like, how much will students get loyal to this particular field in terms of development?
Well, I can tell you that we have very great prospect. As a matter of fact, I am the pilot lead for a climate action project sponsored by the Canadian government, specifically Environment and Climate Change Canada. So they've provided, in fact, they've already started that. We've already launched a postgraduate program in climate action. So we give certificate, 3 months each, then diploma in 9 months. The program is sponsored by Canadians. They have committed 400,000 Canadian dollars. For that, we spend, I think, not even half of that money yet. But we have a morning action lab called the National University Climate Action Lab is there now. It was launched. It was launched by the EPA boss, the acting president of the University of Liberia, Dr. R. Hassan Conte. His group of officers, they were all, the vice president were there. So it was launched sometimes last month in November. I think November 8th, it was launched. Morning facility. In fact, they even said the place is very small. So then we have another bigger space on campus that will come to renovate and refurbish this month for climate action, only for climate action. But then I'm also proposing that it goes beyond climate action. It goes to other fields, anthropology, the even history, the even law, and so forth. So that it has that far-reaching effect. Once that program, so somebody, in fact, we want to start enrollment by January 13th to start our first classes, the first cohort. Once it rose up very well, so we're able to successfully give the first 2 certificate programs out, maybe diploma program, then we'll carry out other universities in Monrovia, AMU University, UMU, Cuttington, and so forth. Then, if it's already in Monrovia, the Canadians also have funding to go to the other counties. I was just in Banga and I met superintendents. I met the other superintendents in Banga. We all met there and I spoke. I did a PowerPoint and they all excited. So the Canadians, so I signed a contract with the Canadian government and they are actually supporting climate action. I can tell you for a fact that in the next year, you will see how the face of climate action, MRV as a whole, will be very different in Liberia. I will encourage you and those who have the time to make use of it, to make use of the climate action program at the University of Liberia. We'll roll it out to other universities and we'll roll it out in different counties. So, and we'll go in with it.
Thank you, Dad. Molia is here now. Madison, your questions. Do you have any follow-up question to that? Because that's
no. I don't have any follow-up question.
Okay, so let's go to Ebenezer. Molia, you here now?
Sorry again. Mohammed and Madison, both of them are in Turkey. I don't think they have some outbreak of internet and like that. That is currently at 24:16.
Just give me 1 minute. Let me connect my laptop.
Okay,
that. Okay, so folks, if you just
watching, if I do in Turkey, you're getting on me in that way.
Why are you fighting us, bro?
I'm not fighting. I mean, in Turkey, bro. you see, reality, you see, slow. I love you. I give you, I
Okay.
think that you see, reporting. Imagine
So we're
that.
going to read. Benzo, we're going to read some of the comment in the meantime. What that is getting set up, and so
Okay, Alpha.
Jacob, I think. Okay, okay, okay,
I was already going off. I
okay.
didn't know that one.
Okay.
Okay.
So Molly, you can go ahead now. You have it.
Yeah, so like I said, Dad, it was good that we have you this afternoon. In Liberia now is 2 minutes past 9. And again, thank you for the representation of Liberia in Saudi Arabia for COP16. I think we have some chats about that conference, and it's a good thing that Liberia is being represented there. So, first of all, before we go into question, I must firstly commend you for accepting our invite to be on the show, Sounds of Society, and I think Mohammed, Madison, along with our other present, but because of other things that they have dropped, we are all grateful to have you this afternoon or this evening sharing your expertise, your experiences, and also motivating people like us who are all just a youngster when it comes to STEM professionals and wanting to reach is enough by God's grace that you have achieved so far. My question has to do with are there any available programs that you think people like us who may not have had opportunity to graduate school at this particular juncture in Liberia and at the first degree that we can harness, specifically into climate change environment at the University of Liberia? I really want you to explain that, please.
Okay, is that Ebenezer?
Yeah, Molly.
Okay, so yeah, so there are opportunities. But at this point in time, the University of Liberia has graduate programs, right? Graduate programs. Let's say 3 graduate programs in the environmental sciences. We have masters in environmental science, masters in environmental management, and masters in climate change and biodiversity. Right? But other than that,
Okay.
yeah, other than that, then we have now, as I told you, we have a program was sponsored by the Canadian government. We have a modern climate action lab where we're having short-term courses. Many of the folks from who are working with NGOs, some in the UN sector have applied, to be part of the first cohort. So yes, so
Okay.
once you graduate from there, you have now a postgraduate certificate or postgraduate diploma in climate action. So that program, we're very hopeful that students already apply. We already continue interview, of students, and then we want to start the program. We want to run the program at least the first cohort by January 13. So it's
Okay.
available. But beyond the University of Liberia, beyond the local programs here at the university, there are also scholarship. There are also scholarship. Right now, the Canadians are sponsoring folks, under the project that I lead here with them in Liberia, on some online programs run by the UNFCCC, such as, for example, the Greenhouse Gas Management Institute. There are folks right now, when you go on campus at the university, just ask for the National University Climate Action Laboratory. Uh, I recommended Mr. Mark Itama to be the coordinator for the lab. So I think
Okay.
Mohammed, those from UMU and you all will know Mr. Tamba. He's been on me for a long time now.
I know back time as well.
Yeah, so I brought him on board. So right now he also is now working for the Canadian government, managing our morning facility we have on the campus. So yeah, so there are but there are other opportunities, abroad. So many scholarships are available. I know some of whom have gone on it, and we chat like, hey Mohammed, and I remember Mohammed was always, Dean, I'm applying, but it's not easy. Each time I apply, I don't get successful. I say keep applying, and I know so at some point in time I was always writing letter recommendations. I do it all the time now. So like almost every day I read about 2 or 3 letters, a recommendation for for students. And I'm happy that there's sometimes after sometimes 3 or 4 months, and these students leave.
Right,
They
that's
leave.
good.
Yeah, so it happens, but it's going to take it one step at a time.
Yep.
The opportunities, they will come, and you can grab them. Somebody will come about two at once. They get confused. Where should I go? Should I go to the UK, to the US? Should I go India, Turkey, or China? Should I go to this place? Because they come at once. They start to
Okay.
break it down and you look at other factors. Do I want to do environmental science? Do I want to do chemical engineering? Do I want to do climate change? Do I want to do biomedical science? So it depends now on how they come or how you apply for them. So that's how it is. But I know for sure that locally and internationally, there are scholarships that avail themselves for very good and prepared young people.
Thank you.
Okay.
That we will we before I think I won't be able to ask question because I see some lot already on the live. I want to read them or you just combine them in your closing and then you get close with it. And in fact, some of the questions there are almost similar to the question I needed to ask. So I think I won't ask question again. And so the first question is from that's not really a question. Julie says I'm watching from Nairobi, Kenya. He's watching from Nairobi. Joe is it Jolie or I don't know Juwle Jolie like that. I don't know. He says he's watching from Nairobi, Kenya. And so Moses what Dubai is saying, Dean, what Liberia
Yes, yes,
will
yes.
be of
Marcus Julie and Mohammed.
okay, Marco Julie,
It's
okay.
Marcus Julie. That's somebody I know.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So sorry, probably, but I don't know your Facebook in using his Facebook name to comment. That's the reason.
Yeah,
So
Julie,
Moses
Julie,
what?
but his name is Marcus.
Okay. So Prof Moses is saying, Dean, what Liberia will be benefiting from the conference that you are attending in Saudi Arabia? So almost a similar question that I asked with the issue. So you're going to combine the Baku issue, the conference in Azerbaijan, Baku, and also in Saudi Arabia. What will be the benefit in what you guys are doing? But I'll go back to the next comment. Then probably you just combine them together. So God gift is saying his question is what kinds of mechanism we need to put in place that that will make students who are currently in high school to develop interest in the natural sciences. And so Michael again is saying why can't we begin with high schools then it comes to okay he said why can't we begin with high school then when it comes to climate issues this will make our students have a clear understanding about climate issues because most of those who are advocates for climate change in the world are high school students and so that I think these are the questions and comments you could just going to address that in your closing. We'd like to say thank you for coming to our podcast, our show to Science and Society. I mean, so far so good. I would like to see this is your first time here, and hope that we will have you on this here again. And thank you for always for the support for all the mentorship. You know, and it been sometimes some of us can say oh, but you've been doing a lot when it comes to in molding the minds of young scientists back in Liberia. I know I personally the benefit I've getting from you I mean, I remember one point in time when I was coming up here, he said to me, Mohammed, I'll show you have to be very sure when this is a fully funded scholarship because when it's not fully funded, you're not going to get money anywhere in foreign country for food and also for staying somewhere. Where are you going to stay? So I said, no, it's a fully funded. When you read the letter, I know, I mean, it was just a motivation. You were very happy that day. And in fact, you said, my man, you can have this as transportation to go to the airport, even though that's the part of it, but you actually someone who you meet a lot from the comment section we see on Facebook. You're not the kind of social media type, but if you go on social media now, there are a lot of share of your videos, this particular live podcast, and these are all your students that are doing this. They love you, and I can say to you, continue the work you do for Liberia. People are some people don't know the important politician, like you said, don't know the important, but I know time will come, Liberia going to improve on the on scientists, how they can be able to take care of their scientists back in Liberia. Thank you so much for coming and hope that you're gonna address those questions for us. Thank you so much. In your closing.
Thank you very much, Mohammed, and thanks to all of you, here on this platform and other platforms that are listening. I actually, no, I'm actually very busy. Usually, I think about 2 times now you have reached out to me,
Yes.
but they've been very frank. Each time we plan, something comes up, and sometimes when I travel, then I think I free a little bit. So like now is after 12 midnight, 12:11.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so I think, but then nobody's here. I'm here, in my apartment here. So I said, let me just make sure that I take this time now. Because who knows, in Liberia, go by Liberia, I may not have the time like I have now.
Even
Yeah.
sure.
So anyway,
Thank you so much. But in your closing, that you can be able to we'll ask for your closing. You can be able to address those questions.
yeah,
We
yeah,
have
yeah.
about 30 questions. Prof. Moses, God gift, and Michael, and asking a very
Yes.
brilliant question.
So yeah, Moses is an assistant professor, an instructor, actually an instructor at the University of Liberia, in the biological sciences. So I know him very well fresh from India. So yeah, these conventions, right? The UNCPD, the one that was just held in Colombia in October, the Convention on Biological Diversity, the UNCPD. Then the one, the UNFCCC, that was held in Baku, Azerbaijan, just in November. That's the main one, right? The Framework Convention on Climate Change, the umbrella organization for climate change, globally. Then the one I'm on right now in Saudi Arabia, here in Riyadh, the UNCCC, right? The Convention to Combat Desertification. I can tell you that they provide numerous benefits that align with our national development and environmental goals. For example, access to funding and technical support. Because as I told you, when we come to these conventions, Liberia can access international funding through mechanisms like the GEF, Global Environment Facility, or the GCF, the Green Climate Fund. And those funding are intended to support biodiversity conservation, climate action, land restoration, especially for what a year from now, we want million on land resources and so forth. But it also have funding for capacity building, because then now it will allow Liberian scientists or students of science, policy makers, practitioners to gain knowledge training. That's why from time to time, I always go to different places in Liberia to conduct a workshop to kind of provide technical expertise. Then also, we come here to have Liberia benefiting from what we call climate resilience and mitigation. I can tell you there's something that you may not know. I mean, because maybe you're not involved with climate change. There are two ways we address climate change, right? Two approaches. Number one is adaptation, and number two is what? Mitigation. But then, if you notice, when I was in the UK for COP21, we were fighting for loss and damage. It didn't happen. Then we came to Egypt the following year. COP26 in the UK, it didn't happen. COP27 in Egypt, at least because Africa COP, it came on the agenda, and we fought. At least then we went to the following year, COP28 last year in Dubai, and now COP29 now, that we have in Baku. What Africa has succeeded in getting is to have a tiered approach to climate action, the what we call loss and damage. Can we on the loss and damage? Africa is saying that, well, there are problems, climate impact, that cannot be solved by these two approaches alone. It cannot be solved by adaptation. It cannot be solved by mitigation. There must be a tiered approach, which is loss and damage, meaning that, take for example, you have communities on the coast, right? And then the sea comes and wash them away. That's loss, big loss. People live with the houses, they all gone. No. Then so there must be something right now available, money available to address the needs of the people. That will call it loss and damage. It's in a different category by itself. So Africa said there must be a fund for that. And it was not until we went Baku, we stayed all night, even on the last day. If you're following that aid, on the last day, I think about 2 in the morning, the next day, before we're able to get 300 million to address that. Even at that, Africa says it's small, right? Then the West say, you know what I mean? Okay, you know, if you want all the money in the world, we'll give you all the money in the world. But then when we emitting, then don't talk. So then let's give you all the money that we want to give you, but then do not tell us to stop emitting, because they were already paying enough for our emissions. So it's a sticky point. Our role is to negotiate to get the best deal. But again, as you negotiating, it's the give and take. You don't get all. So these are just some of the benefits I will get. Moses, Mr. Dubai, these are some of the benefits we'll get in the conversations. Right now, we are fighting hard to get funding for drought. Up to now, today's date, there is no decision yet. We have up to Friday. If nothing happens, then we'll pray again for next cup. But we're very hopeful that we'll get something on drought. That is our prayer. We're hoping that tomorrow again, early morning, we'll start on it, and then we'll see how it goes. But yeah, so these conferences provide us a platform to negotiate in ways that will benefit our country, especially our country where people are very vulnerable to the impact of climate change. Then somebody talked about, from high schools, right? How we can harness the skills, or say how we can nurture the skills from the formative years, high school. First and foremost, in the high school, make sure that you have good labs. Good labs. I went to Lakere Mission High School, and I can tell you that very different speaking, we have good lab. There are experiments that I did in 5th grade, 6th grade, coming up in Lakere. They were good experiments, very, very good experiments. We have very good labs. So, and I think that's where it really moved me to do science. We have good labs, we have good teachers. So make sure that those who teach high schools are good. You don't put anybody in the classroom to teach the students. No. In fact, at some point in time, I will go to my class to Lakere Mission, my alma mater, to Iriko, and then just 1 or 2 hours, lecture students. I went there in May on a career day, and I just lectured them. Impossible to solve problems, quadratic equations, because you need the best to teach these students. Good labs that provide hands-on experiments. Then field trips. When I was in high school, we went on field trips. We went to Coca-Cola factory, went to a beer factory, and we went to Firestone. So we went to places in high school like Lakere Mission. I don't know what else schools going in nowadays, but school should do it, because you know why? When schools do it, it provides that experiential and hands-on learning. Then also too, I did it in Lakere, the science fair. We had science fair. We have competitions. Those who produce the best science project, who will showcase the best project. Those who will display curiosity, innovation, research. I one area there. I think I got gave right. Ask the question. Then also curriculum enrichment. I know that the curriculum must be very good. It should not be curriculum where you teach theories. What is science? Science is this. What is that? No. It should be one that should be based on questions. Students must not memorize. You know, students must be taught in a way that they will be able to ask questions. The curious mind. It should be inquiry-based learning. And there should be technology. If possible, use the, you know, I know it's hard for many high schools. We don't have it in many cases. We, you know, in Liberia, but it's good. If we even had 2 or 3 of these schools in Liberia, just for those who are showing strength in the sciences, no problem. And you make it, you know, free for those students. I mean, for everybody, but those who are showing good skills, exceptional skills, those who you think likely would do sciences, you want to highlight a career in science by doing that. Then, as I said before, role models, mentorship, community engagement, all of that, those things will help, you know, the folks from high school. Then, so high school is a very critical stage for learning. I can tell you for sure, I can boast of my high school, like Kerry mentioned. I think whatever I learned, even to do my PhD, I got that foundation from high school. I have very good teachers, very good teachers. I have very good lab, and I got all the education free of charge. I didn't pay money for that. I just pay attention, you know, and I work very hard. There were also in schools we had science and math clubs. I don't know about now, you know, but I know that I was in the science and math club. It was very, very active. So I would think, you know, maybe one of the things that maybe you have given an idea, the idea you gave me now to tell the Canadians to please help us to take climate education to the high school. And I think I will engage them soon. I'll go back Liberia next week. I just send an email. Since we already did it at the university level, let's do it in the high school level. And it's something I know they will actually pilot in Liberia. But yeah, so let me say thank you very much. I don't know whether I addressed all your questions, but I can tell you that I like to be here. I try my best to employ innovative teaching and research methods. I try to inspire students through academic excellence. Yes, I kind of, you know, try to say, well, students should look at the global challenges in STEM, in environmental fields, in climate change. You know, I know many times people don't talk about the oil and gas again. Oil and gas, but they're very big. I would say, should I say Liberia should not harness our, you know, our oil and gas resources for climate change? No, we can still harness it because other countries grow by means of the oil program. But can we do it sustainably? Yes, we can do it. So thank you very much again. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to share my experience. And I hope to some extent I made a small impact. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dada Charles Ansumana Senior. Again, it was very, very great time. We always here, just so to remind you again, probably with the question that has to do with carrying the environmental science program to high school. Our team is in Liberia. Probably you want to work with them for innovation lab. You can also work with them to implement these. Back in Liberia, we were always waiting, and so you have a lot of commendation. I mean, the guys are saying it's actually a good it was actually a good interaction. But Madison, I mean, do you have anything to say to that comment?
Let me say this, Mohammed.
Yeah.
Let me say that I also welcome criticism. You know, I one of those who like criticism because it will help me to you know, do better. So I don't mind if the comments are a little bit critical. No problem.
Yeah. So so we have I think about just 30 comments, and this one from Gogan saying I am complete with the answers that, but again, Avenue is a parent, and Michael is saying innovation promotes self resilience. Daniel Cooper Dagba is saying thanks that. But here in Liberia, what's the mechanism the government will put in place to get student attention to the sciences. Even the various universities, there is no proper laboratory. They complete practical. So these are some of the issues, but that came late.
Yeah, no,
That
but
already
for
concluded.
example, yeah, let me just share quickly, right? The government can build and upgrade the science infrastructure. They can, for example, the government can help to establish science labs in schools and universities. Government schools, and government can put the government schools. Government schools
Yes,
should
sure.
have, well-equipped laboratories for high schools and universities. There are schools that are private schools, for example. Government can subsidize them in a way that they can make their labs equipped. Maybe government will say, well, government doesn't have money because government has a lot of competing priorities. They have a lot of things that will be kind of like strain on the budget. But the government can do what we call public-private partnership, PPP, right?
Yes,
Because
sure.
that can play a major role in mobilizing resources for these projects. There are also mobile labs. Government can also help to do curriculum reform. Most of the curriculum that we have, to be very frank, it's just meant for students to memorize. The curriculum that we have makes students memorize. It is so bad to make students memorize. Because at the end of the day, students will not be innovative. It will not make them be good researchers. Students must learn in a way that they can ask questions. They can want to investigate and not just to memorize. Government can also train teachers. Many of our teachers, I know there was some paper, let's say a news article, not news article per se, it was an opinion written by someone who did a research across the country on teachers. That teachers fail in their own exams. Like, let's say, for example, you teaching mathematics for 15 years. They give you a simple math test and you fail.
Quite well, worries done.
English, you give you English, then means that what are you teaching the students? So government must either train the teachers if they are trainable. If not, they're not trainable, then don't put in the classroom. Because if you put in the classroom now, then what happens is that they do not train the minds of the people, the children, the folks on way down there. And once the mind is from down there is messed up, you have a very poor foundation for anything in life. So yeah, so these are some of the ways that government can do, right? Yeah. If Bureau also has a lot of industries, they can come in. They can do other kind of industries, support universities, other programs to to encourage people in the field. So it's not easy. It's not easy, right? For our country, we have challenges, but we should not sit down now and start to cry. We can make use of whatever little things we have, and then we may enjoy, the little efforts that we apply.
That's Dr. Charles Ansumana. Listening to you, have any comment to make to that before he can go?
Yeah, Mohammed, I want to make this comment to that. It's a compliment, particularly to that for what he's been doing. First of all, I want to say that thanks for coming to our invite, creating time for your students. You are one of our academic fathers in Nigeria we strongly look up to. Thanks for sharing your experiences from the humble beginning up to where you are now. For me, I think it is a steady motivation for me, Mohammed, and other young people who are into the science field in Liberia. I want to say thank you for always representing Liberia internationally. Thanks for the advocacies, the international negotiation you make for Liberia. And in a nutshell, thanks for your contribution to Liberia academically and also environmentally. So that we want to salute you and say thanks for coming, and we hope to have you again, just in case we need of you here. That thanks.
Thank you so much. So, folks, that's how we call it a day, and it was actually a good time having you. And thank you
very
again.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We shall see you again. Each time,
Thank you.
I have a leisure, wish you to meet. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so that was Dr. Charles Ansumana. He's the dean of the Science College at the University of Liberia. Marco, you was actually late. He said, I heard most of what you explained. You said, I don't think it's somehow a slow piece, you know. So, I mean, it's Marco, you know, things in Liberia are very slow when it comes to the sciences. And this is just actually the half part, the hard reality is you try explaining. So that's I think you it was actually a good show, Madison, right?
Sure. Mohammed, like I normally tell you, normally our show gets more interesting from one guest to another. So, like as we have guests on a daily basis from one guest to another, the taste of the show increases and it becomes so different. That's what I think, Mohammed.
Yeah, sure. Because I think last week we want to apologize also. Last week we didn't have the guest telling us that Sam Mongo, you know, he has a critical issue at JFK, so he couldn't attend. He had a lot of patients at JFK, so he wrote me and said to me, Mohammed, I can make it. And so one of the challenge we've been facing on this platform is that every time we reach to people, mainly the females, they don't come to the platform. Sometimes they they don't come to the platform. Sometimes what happens is that they turn us down. They sometimes afraid. I don't know why, but this is actually meant to inspire other people. There are all the young people, young students who are on social media who are watching from Liberia who wants to be inspired from some of those stories, like Dr. Charles Ansumana. You know, his explanation to inspire a lot of people are getting a lot of messages in my inbox about Dr. Charles Ansumana, and it's something that I mean, he doesn't have to give you money, but it's something. Everything you say are all reality, are all something that you can use as a hope for to improve your career. And I mean, I personally he has some inspiration too on me when I was when I was a freshman student, and I had one or two lecture with him, and also when I also at senior student at the undergraduate level, and I, you know, he's he's actually a good person in the sciences in Liberia, putting Liberia on the map up there. And so here at Science and Society, that's what we do. And so keep tuning to Science and Society. Today is the first of Eka. In fact, we having some viewer from YouTube, and so most of the time people don't make use of our YouTube. Hold us, I'm using my name on the YouTube. Hold us, sometime maybe I may change the name, but we also go live on YouTube and also on Facebook and then two Facebook pages that we go live on. Thank you guys for watching. Professor Moses Dubai. I can call him my own father. I remember him as a work at Wired before, and Michael, yeah, Michael, Daniel, God gave all of the guys that have been watching. Thank you for watching. We join us on Friday. Friday we'll have another person here, and also next week we'll have the young guys from Uganda. Right, next week we'll have them here. Also, they're going to
Sure.
be discussing their experience here. And so on Friday we'll have another person. He's going to be here with us. He's a microbiologist. Hope that we'll have Professor Dubai here on some days. I will engage him also. Prof. Moses, I'm going to engage him to also come on and share some of his experience in India. He's as an international student. Well, until then, we want to call it a day. It was actually a good show, though. Thank you so much, Madison. Be safe, and I know the week is still going. You tomorrow you'll be in school, right? Wow, Madison is freezing. So, guys, thank you so much. I will leave you with this music. It's normally the theme song. I'm going to leave you with it as we go on by closing the show. Thank you.
You will come in, will fair, young girl. You will come in, will fair, young girl. You will come in, will fair, young girl. Young girl, oh, Why ya kwa woman ikawa doya? Why ya kwa say why ya beka fu ikawa doya? Ngakatelo tukalabo tukalabo. Ngakatelo tukalabo tukalabo. Yeah, girl.